Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is it okay? Okay, great. So thank you so much, Akiko-san, for the introduction. And thank you so much to Reverend Chiemi for inviting me to speak today. And I want to give a special thank you, express a special thank you to all of you Twin City Sangha members for being here today, allowing me to share my appreciation of the teaching of Namo Amida Butsu for this occasion. As was mentioned, today's occasion is a Dharma gathering in honor of Eshini and Kakushini, who are sometimes considered mothers of this our Joro Shinchu tradition. To begin, I would like to invite all of you to please put your hands together as I read a passage written by Venerable Shinran that will be the focus of our talk today. The liberating wheel of light is without bound. It is taught that all those illuminated by the light are freed from being and non-being. So take refuge in the wisdom of non-discrimination. Nammanda, nammanda. So again, good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for allowing me to be here. There are some names that I recognize, and so if you've heard this particular message or some examples I've given, please listen to it as if it is a rare first-time occasion for you, as Ren Yoshoni says. So again, today we're meeting in honor of Eshini and Kakushini. And when we gather to honor remembering people that we consider special, I think it's common for us to want to recollect what a person's life was like, maybe what happened in their lives, what contributions they made to society, like what is leading us to honor them today. And as Akiko-san described, Eshini was Venerable Shinran's wife, and Kakushini was Venerable Shinran's youngest daughter. And it is due to Eshini's letters in which she praises and tells stories of her husband Shinran that we know for a fact that Venerable Shinran was a real person. But I think that through her letters, we're also able to learn how she too had confidence and conviction in the teaching that he was sharing. And she aspired to go to the Pure Land herself and urged Kakushini to do so as well. Again, as was mentioned, Kakushini was Venerable Shinran's caretaker towards the end of his life. And after he was born in the Pure Land, she established a gravesite in Venerable Shinran's honor and memory, gifting the land to Venerable Shinran's followers so that they may come and pay their respects and remember his teachings as well. The followers elected Kakushini to be the caretaker of the gravesite, which eventually evolved into a mausoleum, which then eventually led to the establishment of Honganji from Kakushini's bloodline. And all of these actions are what allow us to hear the teaching of Venerable Shinran today. I think that it is important for us to remember that the time period that Eshini and Kakushini lived was completely different than the time that we live today. In fact, scholars today think that that society during that time was actually not as patriarchal as we might assume. And women had important roles and responsibilities and were able to own land and hold money. So in short, the roles of women during medieval Japan were not anything I think that we can completely conceive of today, nor can we be completely sure of the details of their lifestyles. Because of this, we should be very careful to pass judgment on their lives based on societal norms that we hold today. However, that being said, we have been taught that in the context of Buddhism and spiritual liberation, women at that time were considered more defiled than men, and spiritual liberation and a path to enlightenment was not guaranteed. And this was generally the way of things until Master Honen and Venerable Shinran clarified Pure Land Buddhism which they based on the 18th vow of Amida Buddha. I don't think it would be an exaggeration to say that these women were able to confidently live through whatever struggles they encountered, whether related to what we would call today gender roles or not, or just general life struggles. They were able to live confidently due to the teaching of what we call Jodo Shinshu, the true essence of the Pure Land Way, which they were able to encounter in their lives. So during this time of reflecting on the contributions of these women, I think it is equally important for us to reflect on the teaching that gave them strength. Again, while we're remembering them, as we like to do for special people, we may want to focus on their so-called concrete contributions. But I think it is equally important for us to reflect on, understand, and be reminded of the essence of the teaching that moved them in their lives. So why did they want Venerable Shinran's teaching to be shared? We should ask ourselves, what was it that they were able to have confidence in so they could live their lives in the way that they did? The passage that I shared today, as I mentioned, is a poem written by Venerable Shinran, which is found in his collection of poems on the Pure Land. In Japanese, this collection is called the Jodo Wasan. In this poem, Venerable Shinran is clarifying that the wisdom of the Buddha is wisdom that transcends our human understanding. And this transcendent wisdom is constantly working to reach us, to reach out to each and every one of us non-discriminatively. It is also wisdom that is working to free us from our attachments of always needing to distinguish good and bad, rich and poor, young and old, man and woman, etc. This wisdom teaches in a non-discriminative manner, and it encourages us to be less attached to our own discriminating views. I think we tend to think of the word discriminate to mean differentiating and judging other people or groups of people and treating them as less than, right? This is kind of how we use that word today in our modern society. But in the context of Buddha Dharma, to have a discriminating mind means to live life in accordance with thoughts such as, I like this and I don't like that. This is good, this is bad. And we think this way based on our own ignorance and our own selfish convenience. So based on the definition we may use in everyday life, then we might be thinking, I don't discriminate. I try to treat everybody equally. But based on the Buddha's definition, I think we can say that each of us is constantly discriminating everything that we encounter, and it is unskillful and harmful to us. Part of Shakyamuni Buddha's basic teaching is that all beings have been karmically conditioned to think in this discriminating, self-centered way from a beginningless past. This means that there's no one specific point in time that we can say, oh, this is why we're like this. In other words, because we've been like this for so long as humans, as humanity, our way of thinking like this is a really, 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 really bad habit that we've inherited. So does anyone here have a bad habit that you know that you need to quit, but you just can't? Right? Right now I'm addicted to diet soda, which, I've heard that aspartame is not good for me, but I can't help it. I like it. And I know I shouldn't drink it, but I do. So bad habits are things that we know we need to overcome, but we're just so used to them and attached to them that it's really difficult to do. We don't know what our lives would be like without it. So Shakyamuni Buddha teaches us that this bad habit of creating distinctions and judgments is not only within each of us as individuals, but because we are part of collective humanity, right? This is also something that we do as a collective humanity, as society. Because of this, as individuals and as society, we are constantly creating differentiations amongst everything we encounter, all things, all people, all experiences, etc. Another layer of this bad habit is that the distinctions and judgments that we are making differ based on each of our personal karmic conditions and experiences. This means that we are being ignorant of the truth and we are being self-centered. So what do I mean by this? Okay, I want to do a little bit question and answer. And so please feel free to unmute yourself. So I would like to ask all of you, what is the best flavor of ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip.
Okay,
Chocolate.
great answer.
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Okay answer. Anyone else want to share their
Strawberry.
right?
Mango.
So we all have our own different ice cream flavors that we think are the best. I would agree with the people that say mint chocolate chip. But, you know, some of you, when you hear me say that, you are thinking, what are you talking about? You are so wrong. That is not the best flavor. Right? Some of you might be thinking, well, I don't even like ice cream. So this has nothing to do with me. Or some of you might be thinking, I don't have a favorite flavor. I like all ice cream. I will not discriminate against ice cream. Right. So if we were to continue this conversation, maybe we might try to convince each other of why our favorite ice cream flavor is the best. And even if we don't, say anything out loud, we might be judging the rest of, others in our minds. How can that be your favorite flavor? How can someone not like ice cream? Essentially, what we are all saying is that we are thinking, I am right and you are wrong, based on each of our own personal preference and convenience. And it is because of you having your own karmic conditions that you have your favorite flavor. Because of my personal karmic conditions, I have my favorite flavor. I think this particular topic of ice cream would not likely escalate to, or at least I hope not, anything serious amongst us here. Please do not have a war in your Sangha about ice cream. But this is the root of our bad habit that leads us to serious conflict because we become so attached to I am right and you are wrong. It is this root of this habit that has led us as humans throughout history to create distinctions and judgments from anything from favorite flavors of ice cream to ranking athletes in competitions to creating castes or social classes. From anything, occupational livelihood to gender roles, we're always creating judgments and distinctions and rating things. Look at Yelp, look at Amazon, right? Constant, like we have review sites. That's what that is. So the karmic conditions of the society of Eshini and Kakshini were such that women were considered, maybe less than. But I think, probably during that time, there were other types of people and groups that were also considered less than, whether it was in a spiritual manner or a secular manner. So because Eshini and Kakshini encountered this wisdom, I think that they were able to truly understand that through Namo Amida Butsu, although certain people outside of their community might be trying to ascribe a certain value on them as women or as Nembutsu followers, or maybe on others for other reasons, the truth of suchness is that all things and all people are equally valuable. Buddha embraces all non-discriminatively, non-judgmentally. Eshini and Kakshini truly understood the profound truth that we are all of the condition of imposing unfounded judgments on each other based on our own ignorance and our own self-centered convenience. We might not think, perhaps, today, oh, this type of behavior is not worthy of compassion. I have to be good. I have to treat everybody equally. But it is actually because we are this way that Amida Buddha does not forsake anyone and equally embraces all of us. I think that through knowing these 2 points, that for Eshini, that they harbored their own discriminative minds, and that Amida Buddha compassionately embraced each of them as they were within the 18th vow, that they were able to have confidence in their lives through their struggles. Venerable Shinran, one of Venerable Shinran's major texts is called Kyogyo Shinsho. And at the end, there's a passage that I really like. Mindful solely of the profundity of the Buddha's benevolence, I pay no heed to the derision of others. In other words, no matter if people criticized him or told him he was wrong, he knew that those words were merely the foolish, ignorant opinions of others. And all that mattered was the Buddha's true and real wisdom and compassion that accepted him as he was. I think it is this spirit that was inside Eshini and Kakushini. It was this spirit that gave them confidence to endure through any adversity. And I think it was such a profound teaching for them that they wanted to share it with others and make sure it would get passed on. Eshini wrote letters to Kakushini to make sure that she knew about Venerable Shinran's life and his conviction in the Buddha's teaching. And then Kakushini erected Venerable Shinran's gravesite out of the wish for his teaching to not be forgotten. So I think for us today, it is very important for us to recognize that through the struggles that Venerable Shinran, Eshini, and Kakushini faced, the stories we have received of them are not about them trying to remake society through just at a secular level, but we are taught about each of their wishes for the teaching of Namo Amida Butsu to spread. It was their wish for everyone equally to truly hear the heart, the essence behind Namo Amida Butsu, with the hope that Namo Amida Butsu's light will guide others in their lives, just as it did for them. It was through sharing this teaching, this spirit, and the essence of Namo Amida Butsu, which they themselves had fully encountered, that they hoped to inspire society and to inspire their society and community to transform. So as we gather today to honor and remember Eshini and Kakushini, I hope that we can take the time to truly understand and listen to the essence that gave them strength. This is the transformative teaching that is open to all, no matter where we live, no matter when we live, what language we may speak, the color of our skin, age, sexuality, gender, any discriminating factors that we may create in our own minds. I hope that we can all be inspired by Eshini and Kakushini to hear for ourselves the calling of Namo Amida Buddha that wishes for all of us to accept ourselves as we are, accept others as they are, and have confidence in our lives as we are, no matter what challenges we may encounter. Namo Amida Butsu understands how deep and thoroughgoing our bad habit is, and so it never ceases working to guide us, aspiring to make us all equally aware of the judgmental mind that harbors inside all of us. And it is also letting us know that we are all embraced within true wisdom and compassion. Namo Amida Butsu reaches out to us with a heart of deep care and empathy, seeing how our behaviors cause us to stay stuck in this cycle of delusion and hardship. When we truly encounter this teaching for ourselves, I think our own desire to pass on this teaching to others, to share this teaching with others, will manifest within our own hearts as well. Like Eshini and Kakushini, let us all try to do what we can within our individual means to help create conditions for the teaching to spread now in this life, as well as helping the teaching to be shared with others that will come after us. So thank you very much again for allowing me to share my appreciation of Nembutsu teaching with you today in honor of Eshini and Kakushini. I would like to invite you to put your hands together in reverence as I close by reading a letter written by Master Renyon. Lay people in the latter age who lack wisdom should deeply rely on Amida Buddha with singleness of heart, entrusting themselves to the Buddha single-mindedly and unwaveringly for their emancipation without turning their thoughts to other matters. However deep and heavy their evil karma may be, Amida Tathagata unfailingly saves them. This is the essence of the 18th vow that assures our birth in the Pure Land through the Nembutsu. Once our heart is thus settled, we should say the Nembutsu, whether awake or asleep, for as long as we live, humbly and respectfully. Mandai muchi no zaike shijun no nanyo taran tomogara kokoro itotsu ni shite aminamu to fukaku tanomi mairasetu. さらに世の方へ心を振らず、一心にこにぶ助けたまえともさん、主上も。たとえ在後は人獣なりとも、必ず皆如来は救いましますべし。これすなわち第18の念仏の上の宣言の心のり。悪のごとく剣のしての上には寝ても覚めても命のあらん限りは称名念仏すべきものなり。あなかしこ、あなかしこ。Namandap, namandap, 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 namandap. Naman. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening to me.
Thank you, Sensei.